or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Dzień dobry. This is Joanne Yanitsky, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the July 16th, 2026 issue of the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. I hope everyone enjoyed 716 Day. I think that's just such a cool way to celebrate the 716 area code area. The Am-Pol Eagle is 16 pages long this time. I've scrolled ahead, and a good part of it is dedicated to the Cheektowaga Polish-American Arts Festival coming up July 24th to 26th in 2026. On the, well, I don't think this is the front page. It's not the news front page, but it's the section promoting the event. And it is colorful. It reads, "Celebrate Polish heritage. Art, music, food, fun, all are welcome." And a beautiful, beautiful Krakowianki dancer, beads and her peasant outfit on, and her crown of flowers and ribbons, and it lists the many sponsors, too many for me to go through, unfortunately. You might want to think, if you have any intention of going to the Arts Festival next weekend, you might want to stop and pick up a hard copy of the Am-Pol Eagle, because this particular issue has maps of where things will be located, such as security, beer ticket sales, first aid, lost and found. There's a map that lists the food trucks and vendors, and then the dining area, the Polam Pavilion, food vendors, Polonia platform stage, staff and vendor parking. I'm going to guess this is, without going into more specifics, this is the broad sweep of where things are. It does say free admission, come celebrate Polish heritage, family, and community. There's family fun, there's a kids area and photo booths. For culture and heritage, there's demonstrations, arts and crafts, history exhibit, authentic food. We have Polish favorites, food trucks, and cold drinks. I'm pretty sure beer is in that cold drink section. Live music. On the main stage, the pavilion stage includes dancing groups. So, let's see, this goes on. It's got the schedule. I can't go through the whole thing, but the schedule involves some traditional arts and crafts, the paper cutouts art demonstration. You've got Polish cooking demonstration, pottery, dance lessons. You've got a demonstration of the Husaria arms with a chance to try the helmets. That's in the Polish Hussar tent. Pysanki egg painting demo, Polish cooking demonstration, learn how to make naleśniki. That was one of my favorites growing up. Fruit soup, more Polish cooking, more dance lessons, palm weaving demo, religious items and books, Polish American heritage, Polish living history traveling museum, information on Polish rights, symbolism, and food. This goes on and on and on and on and on. This particular issue also has information on other ethnic events coming up. So we've got a German-Polish celebration on Saturday, August 15th, 2026. This is, let me see if I can find how this works. Park opens at 3 p.m., but it doesn't say which park. Music by Captain Tom and the Hooligans. Admission is $6 per person. No dogs allowed. No carry-in food or drink. Held rain or shine. Cash only. Polish Heritage Dancers of Western New York. SGTV Edelweiss Dancers. I wish it would say what park that was in, but it doesn't. Maybe by August 15th, we'll get some follow-up on that because that would be an important one to know where it was. Again, more information about the Cheektowaga event next weekend. We also have, this is an out-of-state one, at the National Shrine of Our Lady of Częstochowa in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And this is Labor Day weekend, September 5th, 6th, and 7th, and September 12th and 13th from noon to 8 p.m. $15 per person gets you into the festival, and it gives you unlimited rides all day. You also have Polish folk dance ensembles, polka lessons, the Little Circus, Polish Tatra sheepdogs, Polish living history camp, a vodka tasting experience. There's an upcharge for that. There's a shaded Polish beer garden, scavenger hunt for kids, find the Polish dwarves, free parking, buses welcome, advanced group rates. I'm going to give you the website, www.polishamericanfestival.org. That's Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Then we have, not too far away, in Rochester, New York, the St. Stanislaus Kostka Church Polish Arts Festival 2026, August 7th and 8th. We've got Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. and Saturday from 3 to 9 p.m. The usual, Polish food, specialty beer, pottery and art vendors, raffles, kids games, pull tabs. Not sure what that is, but free entry and parking, security on site. Okay, well, that covered a lot of events. The biggest, of course, is coming up next weekend, the Cheektowaga Polish American Arts Festival at Cheektowaga Town Park, starting Friday night and going through Sunday evening. Actually, it starts Friday evening. My bad. So, believe it or not, this actually brings me to the traditional front page of the Am-Pol Eagle, which is listed as page 5. So, I'm going to start with Polish news bites. Tusk predicts war will continue through the winter. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said this week that prospects for a ceasefire or peace agreement in Ukraine remain remote, warning that Russia appears determined to continue the conflict at least through the coming winter. His comments came after consultations with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during meetings in Paris focused on European security. Tusk urged that recent diplomatic efforts have produced little evidence that Moscow is prepared to negotiate a lasting settlement. Instead, he said, military and political developments suggest the Kremlin intends to prolong the conflict, requiring Ukraine's allies to sustain military, financial, and humanitarian assistance. As part of Poland's support, Tusk announced plans for joint military exercises this autumn involving Polish, French, and British forces. The drills are intended to improve coordination among allied militaries and prepare for possible future responsibilities connected with post-war security guarantees for Ukraine. Poland has become one of Kyiv's most important allies since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022. The country serves as a major logistical hub for Western military assistance while hosting large numbers of Ukrainian refugees. Warsaw has consistently urged NATO members to strengthen deterrence along the alliance's eastern border. Google Maps works to correct Polish landmark names. Polish landmarks and government offices were recently renamed with vulgar or offensive labels on Google Maps. While some speculated it may have been the work of Russian hackers, Poland's Digital Affairs Ministry said it was likely the result of, quote, kids messing around, end quote, by exploiting a bug. TVP World cited examples including the presidential palace being renamed Hooligans Palace, and the Warsaw Uprising Museum becoming Museum of the Third Reich Uprising, and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier becoming Tomb of the Known SS Soldier. Google says most of the correct names have been restored. And to wrap up Polish news bites, Russian couple sentenced for espionage and bomb plot. A Polish court has sentenced a Russian husband and wife to prison after finding them guilty of spying for Russia, concluding a case that has drawn renewed attention to security threats facing NATO's eastern flank. Prosecutors said one member of the couple was also convicted for participating in a plot involving explosive parcels intended to disrupt transportation network. The investigation formed part of a broader effort by Polish authorities to dismantle alleged Russian intelligence activities operating inside the country. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Poland has significantly expanded counterintelligence operations, citing an increase in espionage, sabotage attempts, and cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure. The verdict reflects Warsaw's increasingly hardline approach towards suspected foreign intelligence operations. Polish officials argue that Russia has intensified hybrid warfare tactics across Europe, including disinformation campaigns, cyber intrusions, and covert sabotage designed to weaken support for Ukraine. There are photographs here. One photo is by Nick Puchalski. Another photo is by Amber Healy. And the article itself is by Amber Healy. And the headline reads, "A Tall Work Order at Assumption Church." There is a crane. This is the Amber Healy photo. It is a crane reaching up to, I believe, the right-hand steeple. I'm not sure where the front or the back of the church is from this photograph. Can't tell. So I suppose it could be the left steeple, but it's one of the two steeples at Assumption Church. Let's see what this is about. There was plenty of activity high above Amherst Street last week as a crew began making repairs on one of the steeple towers at the Church of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Buffalo's Black Rock neighborhood. Earlier this year, a spokesperson for the church confirmed that the church's leadership, along with the Diocese of Buffalo and an insurance company, knew there was damage to the steeple, but at the time, the weather was too cold and treacherous for repairs to be made. Quote, "As soon as it is safe, the contractor will make the necessary repairs," end quote. Under cloudy skies and much more favorable temperatures, at least one person could be seen in a yellow safety structure performing work on one of the peaks of the church. So that is a big job, and I can't see, I don't pass by Assumption Church too often, but I do pass by the Basilica, Our Lady of Victory Basilica in Lackawanna, and they are also doing some huge work. Copper, the roof of the main dome is being, I guess, recoppered, you'd say. Big job. This has been going on for some time. Let's take our first break. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Pol-Am Radio Show celebrates anniversary. There is a photograph of host Andy Gołębiowski in the studio with his headphones and his microphone and his, let's see, what would you call it? I should know this. Whatever the buttons are that radio people have to push in order to make the radio shows work. But let's see what this is all about. The Polish American radio program this week is celebrating 6 years of broadcasting Polish history, culture, and music from Poland. Program host Andy Gołębiowski first started the show in July of 2020 when he was invited by the owner of WEBR Radio to provide Polish programming on the new station. Gołębiowski took the opportunity to provide a unique program that presented music from Poland while sharing information about Polish culture and history in English. In addition to music and narration by Gołębiowski, the program invites experts on Polish topics and promotes local and national Polish cultural events. He has also begun to lead tours of Poland for listeners of the program. 2 years ago, he added Polish language lessons for beginners to the program by inviting an expert in the Polish language, Mark Boyland, to teach. Over 1,000 listeners from around the world have signed up for the lessons. In his message of thanks, Gołębiowski stated, quote, "I thank God for the opportunity and for the health he provides me to continue this program into the 7th year. I am also grateful to the many listeners from as close as Cheektowaga and as far away as Australia and New Zealand who listen to the program regularly, as well as for their advice and messages of encouragement," end quote. Gołębiowski also offered his gratitude to station owner Bill Yonke for the opportunity to purchase airtime with WEBR, as well as to the sponsors who help pay for the airtime through advertising and private donations. The program is broadcast live from WEBR studios in Buffalo, New York, and can be heard around the world every Saturday at 11 a.m. online at webrradio.com and on the radio locally at AM 1440. Every episode of the show is also available online anytime at polishprogram.com. Gołębiowski invites anyone interested in the program and in its tours to Poland to contact him by email at andy@polishprogram.com or by phone 716-510-7562. I'll do the email. That's andy@polishprogram.com and phone 716-510-7562. Now we're going to go to certainly a very, very interesting feature that has been continuing, and it's done by one of my favorite article writers in the Am-Pol Eagle, Tom Tadapachki. There is a black and white photograph of a large church. It appears to be in some kind of a square. There are people big outdoor umbrellas. Kind of hard to make it out because it is in black and white. But it says, this is the caption: Poles, Catholic or not, revere churches as historical and cultural landmarks. Above, St. Mary's in Gdansk. And this is part 3 of his eye-opening trip to Poland. Looking back on my most recent visit to Poland, I've made a few random observations I'd like to make in my final 2 columns about the trip. One of the first things visitors to Poland notice is the churches. No surprise, right? In a country about the size of Arizona, there are an estimated 10,000 Roman Catholic churches, ranging from huge Gothic brick basilicas to smaller wooden structures. Many are centuries old and kept in superb condition. Though the vast majority of Poles consider themselves as practicing Catholics, even most of those who don't consider these churches to be even those who don't consider these churches to be cherished cultural and historical landmarks. At some of the churches, I was able to walk up the steps to reach the towers. Perhaps the most memorable was St. Mary's in Gdansk. For a couple of zloty, you can climb the 400 steps on a primitive and narrow spiral staircase to the top. Now, I wouldn't advise you to try it if you have knee problems or suffer from claustrophobia. Also, keep in mind that the journey back down is even more treacherous. However, the view at the top is spectacular. To me, one of the coolest things about Polish cities is the colorful, distinctive symbols they have. For Warsaw, it's the Syrenka, a mermaid armed with a shield and sword. There's a statue of her in the Old Town, as well as others throughout the city. It's also on the coat of arms. Poznan is famous for the Poznan goats, 2 mechanical billy goats that butt heads every day at noon on the Renaissance Town Hall clock tower. Gdansk is represented by Neptune, the god of the sea, symbolizing the city's connection to the Baltic Sea. One of that city's icons is the Neptune fountain in the town square, built in 1633. The city of Szczecin's symbol is the griffin. The mythical griffin has the body, tail, and back legs of a lion combined with the head and wings of an eagle, and it has been the historic emblem of Szczecin and Pomerania since the 13th century. I saw lots of mermaids at Warsaw's annual Mermaid Parade, celebrating the city's official symbol. It's part of a mermaid-themed, family-friendly festival featuring colorful floats designed by different districts, street performers, dancers, orchestra, and live music. Everything about the festivities was outstanding, from the fantastical costumes to the beautiful music. Gdansk was one of my favorite stops, a multicultural city that has a unique history. Over the years, it was ruled over by factions of Poles, Teutonic Knights, Prussians, Lithuanians, Russians, and Germans again until the end of World War I. Then it became a city-state, the Free City of Danzig, under the protection and oversight of the League of Nations between 1920 and 1939, before returning to Poland after World War II. Located on the Baltic Sea, it's a beautiful, colorful city with numerous attractions. Gdansk was also the birthplace of Solidarity and had a museum commemorating the movement that changed history. It also has the Gdansk shipyards where Solidarity began. People traveling to Poland often ask, quote, "How much cash should I bring with me?" End quote. My answer is that other than tipping and shopping at flea markets, I really didn't need cash. Just make sure that you have a card with no foreign transaction fees. When paying, the payment terminal might recognize your card as foreign and ask if you want to pay in US dollars or PLN. Choose PLN or Polish currency. If you are billed in US dollars, you'll pay a poor, arbitrary exchange rate. Even though Poland is a member of the European Union, it has not replaced its currency, the zloty, with the euro. Poland has argued that keeping the zloty allows that country to set its own interest rates and, if need be, devalue the zloty during economic crises. That, Poles maintain, was a crucial buffer that saved it from the 2008 recession. One of the biggest concerns to tourists in Poland is not being able to converse in Polish. However, don't worry if you're not bilingual. Poles are now required to take English lessons early in school, and their fluency is impressive. So you should be able to communicate with most people in English, though maybe not the older Poles. Back in the day, Poles didn't have to learn English, but instead were given Russian lessons. That being said, you can get along fine with just speaking English, but trying to converse a bit in Polish can be fun. You may not know this, but Poland is considered a stork paradise and is home to nearly a quarter of the world's white stork population. The bird is highly valued in Poland and often celebrated as the national symbol of good luck and fertility. The storks build large nests on rural rooftops, chimneys, and utility poles, often with the assistance of humans. Tens of thousands storks nest in Poland, and Poles celebrate White Stork Day on May 31st. In late August, the iconic birds will fly to the Mid-East and North Africa for the summer, and then return to Poland in April. In Poland, Żabka is a chain of convenience stores with something like 11,000 locations throughout Poland. I think it's Żabka. Żabka is a Polish word that translates as little frog. Similar to 7-Eleven, they sell everything from coffee, snacks, and toiletries. On Sundays, most large supermarkets, shopping malls, and retail stores in Poland are closed. Convenience stores like Żabka are allowed to remain open, as are restaurants and gas stations. Żabka also has launched stores called Żabka Nano, which are open 24 hours a day and operate without staff or check areas. Customers tap their payment card at the entrance or use the Żabka app to open the door, pick up items, and leave. Video cameras and AI are used to identify the goods taken and charge the customers. How about that? So, 2 more photographs. And surely these were taken by Tom Tadapachki on his trip. There is a float in the Mermaid Parade, and it is, I suppose it could be a carved mermaid. It could be maybe a paper mache mermaid or something like that. But she's got a purple tail, and she is carrying perhaps a plate of armor with some kind of design on it that I can't make out. Below that is a nighttime photograph, and it's a photograph of Gdansk. And I don't know, the photograph was taken from perhaps one side of a river, because it doesn't look that far in the distance to see the other side. And the brightly lit Gdansk sign. And behind that is a Ferris wheel, a very large Ferris wheel. And there are bright lights all along that side of, whether it's the river or a small inlet of the Baltic Sea is anybody's guess without a map. But I'm just giving you my best guesses. And now, I guess we're going to take our next break. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. So, I guess I'm going to go backwards because that was on the that story. While it started on the front page, it wrapped up on the last page. But now I'm going to do Polonia's Gardens, and it's about a blissful garden, and this is by Renia Senko-Hanchak. Lots of photographs, lovely, lovely ponds. I can't tell if there are multiple ponds or photographs of the same pond from different angles. Let me see if I can figure this out. Let's see, there's a geranium, and there is, I think they're different ponds. I see a gazing ball in the distance, some garden art, statuary. Can't tell, I don't think there are any fish in the ponds. Doesn't look like any koi. There is a water fountain, might be solar solar powered is the word I'm thinking of here. And then there is a gentleman who is sitting apparently in the yard and looking at a music score. I can't make out what the score is of, but I can tell you I can certainly see lots of music notes. So let's see what this is about. Dr. Thomas Witakovsky, conductor and music director, is well known in the music community. The longtime director of the Chopin Singing Society now directs the Amherst Chamber Orchestra and recently began directing the Cheektowaga Symphony Orchestra. You may have met him in his role as organist and choir director for the Church of St. Casimir and St. Gabriel's Church in Elma, or you possibly took a class from him at Buffalo State University. What you may not know is that Dr. Witakovsky is an avid and proficient gardener. I recently toured his amazing garden. His large double lot in Kaisertown neighborhood is skillfully divided into sectors, connected by cobblestone walkways, all designed and built by Tom. The large vegetable garden shows signs of a hefty harvest. There is an array of berry bushes, including lesser-known varieties of gooseberries and currants. He tends to a stretch of grapevines growing over an arbor, forming a walkway reminiscent of Tuscany. Tom's favorite flowers are interspersed throughout. His bounty will be transformed into jams, jellies, pies, wines, canned and frozen vegetables. The focal point of Tom's garden is a patio area tucked into a peaceful corner of his lot. Bubbling water spilling over a small waterfall makes a sound that Tom calls God's music. Tall trees create a cool, blissful enclave. Water elements are perfect for creating tranquil, aesthetic retreats. Water contributes coolness, moisture, and the possibility for aquatic plants and animals. Types of water features range from small container water gardens, tabletop fountains, to larger features like a pond. Tom's pond took careful planning. It includes a circulation system and filter. Freezing winter temperatures require disengaging the circulating hoses and protecting the filter mechanics. Tom welcomes animal visitors like occasional ducks, birds, and neighbor pets. He has placed goldfish in his pond, but blue herons seem to snatch them away. Buffalo River flows nearby, so deer are frequent visitors. Dr. Vitikovsky's patio pond area is the perfect spot for preparing and planning event music. Thank you, Tom, for helping us appreciate the beauty of music, and thank you for letting me peek into your blissful garden. Just lovely. I'm looking at these photographs again to see if there's anything I missed. There is one photograph that I don't know. It could just be a pond, but I don't know. I guess I'd call it a professional pond that's got a water, kind of a fountain-like effect. I see 1, 2, 3 in this picture, 4 arches of water. So the water shoots up and then creates an arc and drops down. I suppose it could also be a swimming pool that includes the fountain. Maybe I'll find out where Dr. Vitikovsky lives and go check out the swimming pool on a hot day. Who knows? I wonder if I can trade him pierogi for a swim. I'll work on that one. Okay, we have to get serious now because the next article is from Science in Poland, and it's about one of my favorite beverages, not beer. This is about coffee. So I guess it could be about tea because it's really about caffeine. Caffeine may leave the brain awake even after a full night's sleep, scientists say. Caffeine may shorten sleep or make it harder to fall asleep, but even when people appear to get enough sleep, it can reduce the brain's deep restorative activity, according to researchers at the Medical University of Wrocław. Scientists studying caffeine's effect on sleep are increasingly using electroencephalography, EEG, which records the brain's electrical activity and can detect changes in sleep quality that are not visible through conventional sleep measurements. Quote, EEG allows to see not only whether a person is sleeping, but also how the brain is sleeping. Conventional sleep assessment shows the length of sleep and its stages, while quantitative EEG analysis reveals more subtle changes. That is, weakening of slow-wave activities, which is one of the important markers of the deep and regenerative nature of sleep, explains Professor Donata Kurpas from the Department of Nursing, Medical University of Wrocław. Slow-wave activity is a hallmark of deep sleep, the phase responsible for physical recovery, restoring energy reserves, and supporting healthy brain function. According to the researchers, caffeine can make sleep more superficial, even when it does not noticeably reduce sleep duration. According to Kurpas, caffeine can shorten sleep or make it even more difficult to fall asleep. But even with apparently normal sleep duration, it can reduce slow-wave activity and shift the EEG image toward a more wakeful brain. The findings suggest people may spend 8 hours in bed without achieving full neurological recovery. The expert says many people are unaware of the difference between how well they think they slept and what brain activity reveals. Quote, the subjective sense of good sleep is not always consistent with what we see in the neurophysiological recording. A person may fall asleep without any major problems and not remember waking up during the night, but their brain may show fewer features of deep sleep, the expert adds. Researchers also found that people's responses to caffeine vary widely, with genetics, metabolism, age, stress levels, and chronic fatigue all influencing how long its effects persist. As a result, even coffee consumed early in the day may affect sleep in some individuals. Quote, "It's not just about coffee consumed right before going to bed. For some people, the total amount of caffeine during the day and whether the body is able to metabolize it sufficiently before night may also be important," Korpas emphasizes. While caffeine improves alertness and reduces fatigue, Korpas said it may do so at the expense of overnight recovery. Quote, "If caffeine helps you function during the day and at the same time impairs the quality of night regeneration, it may lead to a vicious circle: greater fatigue, greater need for stimulation, and poorer sleep," Korpas says. She continues, "Caffeine is not good or bad. It is a biologically active substance, the effect of which depends on the dose, time of day, age, lifestyle, sleep quality, stress, and individual sensitivity," Korpas says. This is from Science in Poland, and the website is www.scienceinpoland.pl. I love learning things about science in Poland. I just find some of the things that they promote are just wonderful. Let's see, there's more promotion about the Cheektowaga Polish American Arts Festival. And there's one in particular, this is an ad, and it's by the Polish Heritage Dancers of Western New York. They are the ambassadors of Western New York's Polonia since 1997. They do have a Facebook page, so you can just search Polish Heritage Dancers of Western New York. They are inviting people to join their group of dancers. Practices are held in Lancaster, New York, a suburb of Buffalo. And they include children's dancers, youth dancers, and adults. And for more information, I've got the phone number, 716-983-5084. Again, 716-983-5084. Let's see what Amber Healy has to say. There is a very colorful photograph with example of Polish paper cutting. The title of this feature is "Don't Miss the Wycinaki Demonstrations at the Polish Festival" by Amber Healy. The intricate art of Polish paper cutting will be on full display at the Cheektowaga Polish American Arts Festival, July 24th, 26th at Cheektowaga Town Park. Traveling up from Louisiana will be Sam Wrobel, a multidisciplinary artist who specializes in the delicate folk art, turning pieces of brightly colored paper into multi-layered wonders. Quote, "He's a master of the art," says Jim Levitsky, president of the Polish American Congress Western New York Division and a lead organizer of the event. Traditionally, a form of decoration made by people without a lot of money who wanted to brighten up their homes, Wycinanki typically utilizes repetitive patterns and motifs and symmetrical designs on colored paper, utilizing heavy, sharp scissors to cut intricate patterns without using stencils. It can incorporate animals, feathers, or trees, while some feature shapes including stars and snowflakes. Many designs result from layering colorful patterns or characters on white or black paper to tell a more dynamic story. Originally from outside Chicago, Wrobel learned the folk art from Doris Sikorsky, who instilled in him a deep sense of importance in keeping this art alive. Now he's known for his beautiful pieces and often teaches paper cutting techniques to adults and children. Example of Wrubel's work can be viewed on his website, www.sparrowpapercraft.com. I'll do it again, www.sparrowpapercraft.com. I went to school at St. Barbara's with some Wrubels. I wonder if there's any connection. And perhaps it even goes all the way back to the old country. Let's take our last break. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. I'm going backwards again. Let's see, I've done the front page. So what I need to do now is work my way into the beginning few pages of the Am-Pol Eagle that I normally start with. And I'm going to do Polonia's calendar. Of course, we've repeated it again and again and again. I don't know if I can say it enough times. July 24th, 25th, and 26th, the Polish American Arts Festival at Cheektowaga Town Park. It's off Harlem Road in Cheektowaga, New York. Polish food and beverage, music, crafts, dance groups, exhibits, lectures, demonstrations, and more. Free admission. Be there. Okay, now we're going into August. Tuesday, August 4th, Buffalo Bison's Polish Festival Night, pre-game club-level party at 5:30 p.m. with live music, great Polish food specials, and more. Bison's Leadership Award presentation to Tom and Paula Golemowski of Happy Swallow, Polish American of the Year Award presentation to Mary Lou Vedobek, post-game fireworks, and Bisons do great fireworks. On Saturday, August 8th, the Derek Kaczorowski Memorial College Scholarship Fundraiser. It's at Depew Polish Falcons at 6:30 p.m. For tickets or information, contact Jim Kaczorowski. I've got an email and a phone number. jejkaz@yahoo.com. Again, jejkaz@yahoo.com. or 716-864-4642. 716-864-4642. On Saturday, August 8th, Polish immigrants in Buffalo and Western New York. It's a talk at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, the main library downtown, 1 Lafayette Square in downtown Buffalo, at 1 and 2 p.m. The speaker is Deborah Hall Stonish, and it is free. That's got to be really interesting. And if it's a hot August day, I'll bet it's going to be nice and cool in that library. Okay, Sunday, August 23rd, all Polish composer concert by the Amherst Chamber Orchestra at St. Stanislaus Church, 389 Peckham Street in Buffalo, New York. 2:30 in the afternoon, free will offering. Garden party following the concert at the former convent on Wilson Street. It's at the Wilson Street entrance. For garden party tickets and reservations, I have a phone number, 716-876-8108, extension 133. One more time, 716-876-8108, extension 133. On Thursday, September 10th, Farewell to Summer fundraiser to benefit Buffalo Diocese Seminarians. It's at Clocks Grove and Banquet Hall, 1245 Seneca Creek Road. Dinner, Chinese auction, split club raffle. Ticket reservations. It's a phone number, Ed Reshka, 716-648-0370. Again, 716-648-0370. And wrapping up, we have Saturday, September 26th, St. Adalbert's Basilica 140th anniversary. The Mass is at 4 p.m. St. Adalbert's is at 212 Stanislaus Street in Buffalo, New York. That's followed by a banquet at Keebsacks at 38 Crocker Street in Sloan, New York. Banquet tickets are now on sale until September 3rd. There's $50 each, and there is limited seating. Phone numbers 716-997-9983, 716-997-9983. And then Sunday, September 27th, Mass to celebrate St. Adalbert Basilica 140th anniversary. All Masses for the East Buffalo family of parishes will be held at the Basilica. There's a Polish Mass at 10 in the morning and English at 11:30 in the morning. So I'm sure we'll be going over these again. But if you get a chance, put it on your calendar. We have, let's see here, some history. This is The History of America is a story that encompasses all of its people. And it's by Karl L. Buckeye, My Travels Through Poland. There's a black and white photograph. And it is a photograph of, I guess it's a monument. Can't tell quite how tall it is, but it's a monument with 250 with a star in the middle of the zero, and underneath it, it is carved Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown. And the caption reads, the America 250 site in Yorktown with the Atlantic Ocean in the background. I wasn't going to guess Lake Erie, even though I can see that there is water behind the trees and bushes. But I'll bet that dark granite, I don't know, marble base, hard to tell because it is in black and white. Let's see what Carl has to say. Earlier this month, on July 4th, the United States celebrated the 250th anniversary of its independence. A comparison with events in Poland may help many of us to understand the context of historical developments that would ultimately create a nation committed to liberty and justice for all. During the last third of the 18th century, the people of both Poland and the English colonies of North America had encountered challenges to their common desire for a democratic government. In America, Great Britain had taken steps to control its colonies and to restrain the prerogatives of local legislatures. These measures eventually caused the colonists to declare independence in 1776. The Revolutionary War followed. After an American victory in the Battle of Yorktown, the British recognized the independence of its former colonies in 1783. 5 years later, the United States adopted a constitution, which was then enhanced in 1791 with the Bill of Rights. While America was engaged in struggles with Great Britain, Poland faced conflict with the monarchies of Austria, Russia, and Prussia. In the first partition in 1772, these neighbors seized approximately one-third of Poland's territory. Hoping to preempt further assaults, Poland adopted a democratic constitution on May 3, 1791. However, the neighboring monarchies completed their annexation of Poland in future years. Poland would remain under foreign occupation for 123 years until 1918. The Founding Fathers of America had studied the events in Poland and recognized its commitment to democracy. In the 1736 edition of Poor Richard's Almanac, Benjamin Franklin observed that Poland had served as, quote, the bulwark of the Christian faith, end quote. In various letters, Thomas Jefferson mentions that he had read books on the history of Poland by Routhier and by Komarzewski. The drafting of the American Declaration of Independence began on June 10, 1776, when the Continental Congress resolved to appoint a committee to undertake this task. I want to skip ahead because this is going on a little bit. Although we may not know all of their thoughts of the committee, subsequent correspondence demonstrates a general appreciation for the struggles of Poland. Thus, on July 22, 1789, John Adams wrote to Roger Sherman that the scholars agreed, quote, that Poland is a republic, though it has a king, end quote. In a letter dated October 11, 1792, John Adams observed that, quote, every virtuous and enlightened citizen will mourn over the misfortunes of Poland, end quote. There are more examples of written communications between the Founding Fathers mentioning Poland and their struggle for independence and the partitioning of Poland. This is going to wrap it up. During the last week of June, my wife and I joined our son, our daughter-in-law, and our grandchildren on a car trip to the Mid-Atlantic region. During such adventures, we always look for ways to bring history into focus. Among many stops, two sites merit special mention. In Virginia, we visited Jamestown Island. Not only was this the first permanent English settlement in what is now the United States, but it was also the first destination for Polish immigrants. Arriving in 1608, Poles helped to establish a glass industry, but the Polish glassmakers are perhaps best remembered for their successful campaign for full voting rights. Another of many interesting tours occurred at Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson. This being the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we recognize the appropriateness of visiting the mansion of its primary author, who was also a personal friend of Tadeusz Kościuszko. Time to wrap it up. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 16th, 2026 issue of the Am-Pol Eagle. We read from the Am-Pol Eagle every Saturday at 3 p.m. Your reader has been Joanne Yanitsky. Thank you for listening. Do widzenia.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Island Dispatch. Following that, at 5 o'clock is the Lockport Union Southern Journal, and at 6 o'clock, we have the Jamestown Post-Journal. Stay with us for these readings and more. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability